What is your path to Dharma?
Hello, welcome back to Path to Dharma podcast. I'm Shay and I'm here with my mother Shannon, and we are on the fifth canto, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
I can't believe it. Canto
Fifth
5.
canto. I can't believe it
Wow.
either.
Starting Canto 5 today. So I'm excited to just kind of look through it a little bit before we start, if that's
Yeah.
okay. We like to
Mm-hmm.
see the pictures and stuff that are
Mm-hmm.
in here. I haven't.
I mean, just the front picture
I know.
looks pretty cosmic.
Really cool. I have terrible lighting today, everyone, and I'm sorry, but my lighting is it's like charging right now. It's like portable lighting and I didn't charge it. So it's not great. But hopefully you can hear me. Excuse me.
Yes,
Testing,
you sound
testing.
good. And the back picture, there is a
Whoa, I hadn't even looked at the back picture yet.
there is a lot going on
What
there.
is even happening here?
There is a lot going on
Whoa,
there.
there's a lot happening there. I can't wait to see what this is. I mean, I really haven't gone through it, so I don't know.
There's heads chopped off. Looks like some people might be like in ecstasy.
Right?
I see. Is this Kali? I see.
I don't know. Look at this one, the first pic. This is big,
Oh, yeah. Let me open up to the pictures too.
right? If you're listening and not watching, I'm showing this giant chariot, or I just showed this giant chariot being pulled by these golden horses. It's super cool looking. I will say, when we first started and we read the intro, the fifth canto was the one that Prabhupada is like, hey, everyone, the spicy content is in the fifth canto. Don't skip ahead.
Right,
So
right.
we kind of do know something's coming up here on that level. We're adults and we're going to
Yeah.
have a normal adult discussion about all of it.
Oh, and this is Kali. That back picture is Kali. That is again shown in the.
Okay.
So we're gonna meet
Okay.
Kali.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Amazing. I can't wait for that scene.
The pictures do just look absolutely
Really
amazing.
cool. Whoa, look at this one.
Is this with the horse
The
head?
horse head.
Yeah.
The ho Who is this? Everyone, who is this? Okay.
So interesting. I'm so
I'm
excited.
really excited to see all this. Okay.
Oh,
Ravana,
we
it looks
see,
like.
yeah, we see some images from the hellish planets.
Yeah, it looks like Ram and Ravana. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we're just chatting through this book right now,
Whoever,
everyone. Just skip ahead. We'll like just skip ahead to where we start reading. Okay. We should start reading Shay because we're just gonna get
well,
actually
I
super
know.
distracted. So
I know, but
um
this is important for us. I think they understand.
I think so. I hope so too. One of the things that's so interesting to us about the Srimad Bhagavatam is we know nothing about it. We
Right.
haven't heard stories. We've never seen cartoons. We've never seen movies. We really truly don't know these stories. So it's really fascinating. It's like, on the one hand, we're reading this beautiful, deep scripture full of these profound truths. And on another level, it's like this adventure novel. So
Yeah.
it's like there's so
Yeah.
many cool stories that we're reading about. So I'm really excited to actually just like get going on to Canto 5. Um,
All right, let's do some
let's do some
obeisances.
obeisances and then let's get into it.
Uh, Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one must first offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasati of the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. In loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Yes. Let's go,
Let's
universe.
go. Srimad
Hare
Bhagavatam,
Krishna.
fifth canto. I already kind of just peeked ahead and I see who we're starting out with is King Brixit.
Okay, back to that because actually, remember we kind of like wrapped it up and Vidura was like, "Oh wow, like thank you for that beautiful story being told to him by Maitreya, who
Yeah,
was telling being the story was being told by Sutta Goswami to Parikshit, right? Am I right?
back and back and back,
Back and
yes.
back and back. Okay, okay,
All right, Srimad Bhagavatam, Fifth
okay.
Canto, Text 1.
Ah,
King
my
Pariksit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, O great sage, why did King Priyavrata, who was a great self-realized devotee of the Lord, remain in household life, which is the root cause of the bondage of karma,
right.
and which defeats the mission of human life?
We just
Why?
read a bunch about that being attached to the human life. Text 2. Devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmins, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affairs.
I'm so excited to hear the answer to this,
I
because
know, right?
being a householder,
Right.
elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members.
The king continued, O great Brahmin, this is my great doubt. How was it possible for a person like King Priyavrata, who was so attached to wife, children, and home, to achieve the topmost infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness?
Yeah.
Yeah, how?
Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, what you have said is correct. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised in eloquent transcendental verses by such exalted personalities as Brahma, are very pleasing to great devotees and liberated persons. One who is attached to the nectarine honey at the Lord's lotus feet and whose mind is always absorbed in his glories may sometimes be checked by some impediment, but he still never gives up the exalted position he has acquired. Okay.
Okay, is that the thing about you never lose anything gained,
Right.
previously gained?
No
Sukha,
progress
I don't know,
forward.
maybe. Sukha Deva Goswami continued, My dear king, Prince Priyavrata was a great devotee because he sought the lotus feet of Narada, his spiritual master, and thus achieved the highest perfection in transcendental knowledge. With advanced knowledge, he always engaged in discussing spiritual subjects and did not divert his attention to anything else. The prince's father then asked him to take charge of ruling the world. He tried to convince Priyavrata that this was his duty as indicated in the revealed scriptures. Prince Priyavrata, however, was continuously practicing bhakti yoga by constantly remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus engaging all his senses in the service of the Lord. Therefore, although the order of his father could not be rejected, the prince did not welcome it. Thus, he very conscientiously raised the question of whether he might be diverted from devotional service by accepting the responsibility of ruling over the world. Okay. I mean, what's
Sri
more
Suk
worldly than ruling the world?
right, right.
Right?
Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued. The first created being and most powerful demigod in this universe is Lord Brahma, who is always responsible for developing universal affairs. Born directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he dedicates his activities to the welfare of the entire universe, for he knows the purpose of the universal creation. Pause while I. This supreme, powerful Lord Brahma, accompanied by his associates and the personified Vedas, left his own abode in the highest planetary system and descended to the place of Prince Priyavrata's meditation. So he's being visited by Brahma.
Right. As Lord Brahma descended, ugh, my lighting is so terrible, and I'm sorry to be moving things around, but I like can't see to read. Let
Um,
me go over here. Okay. Where was I? Text 8.
yep.
As Lord Brahma descended on his carrier, the great swan, all the residents of the planets named Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, Sadyaloka, and Charanaloka, as well as great sages and demigods flying in their different airplanes, assembled within the canopy of the sky to receive Lord Brahma and worship him. As he received respect and adoration from the residents of the various planets, Lord Brahma appeared just like the full moon surrounded by illuminating stars. Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhama Gandhamadana hill and approached Prince Priyavrata, who was sitting there.
Lord Brahma, the father of Narada Muni, is a supreme. I forgot that Lord Brahma was,
Right.
isn't in some way Lord Brahma the father of all of us? Anyhow.
I think that it's like they said Narada was like born from like straight from Brahma, sorry. Narada was
Okay.
born straight from Brahma
Okay.
rather than like having like a mother incarnate and birth him.
Right. Right.
Right.
All right. Lord Brahma, the father of Narada Muni, is a supreme person within this universe. As soon as Narada saw the great swan, he could understand that Lord Brahma had arrived. Therefore, he immediately stood up, along with Svāyambhuva Manu and his son Priyavrata, whom Narada was instructing. Then they folded their hands and began to worship Lord Brahma with great respect.
My dear King Parikshit, because Lord Brahma had finally descended from Satyaloka to Bhuloka, Narada Muni, Prince Priyavrata, and Svāyambhuva Manu came forward to offer him objects of worship and to praise him in highly qualified language according to Vedic etiquette. At that time, Lord Brahma, the original person of this universe, felt compassion for Priyavrata and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows.
All right, instruction from Lord Brahma.
Nice.
Lord Brahma, the supreme person within this universe, said, My dear Priyavrata, kindly hear attentively what I shall say to you. Do not be jealous of the Supreme Lord, who is beyond our experimental measurements. All of us, including Lord Shiva, your father, and the great sage Mah- Maharishi Narada, must carry out the supreme or must carry out the order of the Supreme. We cannot deviate from his order.
Right. One cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of severe austerities, an exalted Vedic education, or the power of mystic yoga, physical prowess, or intellectual activities, nor can one use his power of religion, his material opulence, or any other means, either by himself or with the help of others, to defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. That is not possible for any living being from Brahma down to the ant.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can't skip over things just by doing austerities.
Yeah, you can't. You can't will yourself through something
That is
that
meant for
is
you.
meant for you, right? That is meant to happen or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. My dear Priyavrata, by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities accept different types of bodies for birth and death, activity, lamentation, illusion, fear of future dangers, and happiness and distress.
My dear boy, all of us are bound by the Vedic injunctions to the divisions of Varnas Varnasrama according to our qualities and work. These divisions are difficult to avoid because they are scientifically arranged. We must therefore carry out our duties of Dharma like bulls obliged to move according to the direction of a driver pulling on ropes knotted to their noses. There's
Mm.
the image. You're just pulled to you're pulled to your dharma,
Yep.
basically by the circumstances of your
Yep.
life and how you've set it up. You're pulled towards it whether you want to go or not.
And could be really uncomfortable or could potentially be an easy, smooth ride if you are able to flow with that.
Right.
Text 15. My dear Priyavrata, according to our association with different modes of material nature, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives our specific bodies and the happiness and distress we achieve. One must therefore remain situated as he is and be conducted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exactly as a blind man is led by a person who has eyes with which to see.
Mhm. Even if one is liberated, he nevertheless accepts the body he has received according to his past karma. We've definitely heard this before.
Yeah.
You incarnate to the body that you like, I don't know if deserves the right word, but the one that you've personally manifested based on
Yeah,
all of your past actions.
I think that blew our mind a couple episodes back.
Yeah, yeah. Without misconceptions, however, he regards his enjoyment and suffering due to that karma the way an awakened person regards a dream he had while sleeping. He thus remains steadfast and never works to achieve another material body under the influence of the three modes of material nature.
This
Okay,
is
so
where it's like your reaction to things can
yes,
actually reduce suffering and help you attain liberation.
right.
It's almost like when Spruce dug that hole in my mattress yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right.
Okay, what is this universe? I have a hole in my mattress now from my dog.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, side tangent. Text 17. Even if he goes from forest to forest, one who is not self-controlled must always fear material bondage because he is living with six co-wives, the mind and knowledge-acquiring senses. Even
Mm.
householder life, however, cannot harm a self-satisfied, learned man who has conquered his senses.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
One who is situated in household life and who systematically conquers his mind and five sense organs is like a king in his fortress who conquers his powerful enemies. Ah, I love that.
Mm,
After one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have decreased, he can move anywhere without danger. That's so interesting.
wow.
I was kind of thinking that this morning when I was walking my dog, and it's real dark out here because it's just now like 5:30. So it's, it's dark, it's night, it's super cloudy and kind of foggy out. And I was listening to music as I was walking him, and the Hare Krishna mantra came on, and I just had this thought of like, why would I ever be afraid of anything? And if I ever was afraid of something, I could just chant Hare Krishna because if I go out in that moment, at least I'm chanting Hare Krishna.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Does that make
I,
sense? Where it was almost like I literally have no reason to fear ever of anything, not even death.
yeah,
If I know this now, I know what to do.
I had a very similar experience last night where my partner is away during the week working, so it's just me and Spruce here, my dog. Um, and just as I was falling asleep, like I thought I heard my door. You know how your mind plays tricks on you. You
Yes,
know,
yeah,
whatever sound it was
right.
outside, and my heart started beating a little bit faster, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, is somebody outside my house?" And then I was like, "Okay, just give it to Krishna." Started chanting the Maha Mantra, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, if I were for whatever reason gonna die right now, this is what I should be doing." So
Right. It's like,
props.
okay, then I guess that's
Yep,
Krishna's plan. Like, I,
yep,
I don't know.
yep,
I'm doing my best. I'm being pulled along like a bull by a, like a
yep,
rope. Okay, where were
yep.
we? Where were we? Okay. Um,
Text 19.
19.
Lord Brahma continued, My dear Priyavrata, seek shelter inside the opening in the lotus feet of the Lord, whose navel is also like a lotus. Thus conquer the six sense organs, the mind and knowledge acquiring senses. Accept material enjoyment because the Lord, extraordinarily, has ordered you to do this. You will thus always be liberated from material association and be able to carry out the Lord's order in your constitutional position.
It's like I'm on a mission from God. We all are.
Yes, we all are.
We all are. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued. After thus being fully instructed by Lord Brahma, who is the spiritual master of the three worlds, Priyavrata, his own position being inferior, offered obeisances, accepted the order, and carried it out with great respect,
As you would.
as you would.
Lord, if Lord Brahma came to you and was
Right.
like, hey,
Yep. This is what you're doing. You're doing it.
yep, yep, this is all part of the order of things.
Yeah.
Lord Brahma was then worshipped by Manu, who respectfully satisfied him as well as he could. Priyavrata and Narada also looked upon Brahma with no tinges of resentment. Having engaged Priyavrata in accepting his father's request, Lord Brahma returned to his abode, Satyaloka, which is indescribable by the endeavor of the mundane mind or words.
Right. Svāyambhuva Manu, with the assistance of Lord Brahma, thus fulfilled his desires. With the permission of the great sage Narada, he delivered to his son the governmental responsibility for maintaining and protecting the planets of the universe. He thus achieved relief from the most dangerous, poisonous ocean of material desires. Okay.
I hope I find that same relief from those dangerous, poisonous
Right?
ocean of materials. Okay. Following the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaja Priyavrata fully engaged in worldly affairs, yet he always sought at the lotus feet of the Lord, which are the cause of liberation from all material attachment. Although Priyavrata Maharaja was completely freed from all material contamination, he ruled the material world just to honor the orders of his superiors.
Right. Because someone has to run the world, I
Someone
guess.
does. Might as well be a devotee.
Like, let's hope it is.
Yeah.
Therefore, after Maharaja Priyavrata married Barhismati, the daughter of the Prajapati named Viskakarma, in her he begat 10 sons, equal to him in beauty, character, magnanimity, and other qualities. He also begot a daughter, the youngest of all, named Urjasvati.
3 among these 10 lived in complete celibacy. Thus trained in brahmachari life from the beginning of childhood, they are very
You actually
conversant.
skipped a text,
Oh, I
but
did.
yeah, go up half the
Oh,
page.
oh,
The
oh.
10.
Yep. The 10 sons of Maharaja Priyavrata were named
Yeah,
Agni,
I mean, yeah, to have you
Agni.
say all the names.
Yeah. These are also the names of Agni, the fire god.
Yeah. 3 among these 10, namely Kavi, Mahariva, no, I'm saying that wrong, Mahavira, and
Mm-hmm.
Savana, lived in complete celibacy. Thus, trained in brahmachari life from the beginning of childhood, they were very conversant with the highest perfection, known as the Paramahamsa Asrama. Paramahamsa Asrama.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they were celibate. So there's like some connection to what's going on with that.
Text 27.
Yeah.
Thus situated in the renounced order from the beginning of their lives, all 3 of them completely controlled the activities of their senses and thus became great saints. They concentrated their minds always upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the resting place of the totality of living entities and who is therefore celebrated as Vasudeva. Lord Vasudeva is the only shelter of those who are actually afraid of material existence. By constantly thinking of his lotus feet, these 3 sons of Maharaja Priyavrata became advanced in pure devotional service. By the prowess of their devotional service, they could directly perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as a super soul, and realize that there were qualitatively no difference between themselves and him.
I love when these people show up that are like so advanced and
Yeah,
they make me feel like it's possible to advance, not to
yeah,
necessarily be advanced, but
yeah,
makes me
mhm,
feel like it's possible to get there.
yeah.
In his other wife, Maharaja Priyavrata begot 3 sons named Uttama, Tamasa, and Raivata. All of them later took charge of Manavatra millenniums.
Oh.
Manvandra. What
It
does
says
that mean?
in every day of Brahma there are 14
Vantaras.
mantaras.
Manvantaras. Okay. The duration of one Manvantara, the lifespan of one Manu, is 71 yugas. Each yuga is 4,320,000 years. Almost all the Manus selected to rule in the Mantavaras come from the family of Maharaja Priyavrata. Oh, okay. And there's 3 of them. Okay.
Okay.
That's when we were talking not that long ago about like the ridiculous amounts of time that are hard to actually wrap your mind around.
Yeah, exactly. And I hear my sprucey goose starting to bark. Hopefully it's not the same as last episode. Love you, buddy. Love you, buddy.
Let's make it through the chapter at least.
Yeah. All right. He has been out, so he should be fine. But after Kavi, Mahavira, and Savannah were completely trained in the Parshamsa stage of life, Maharaja Priyavrata ruled the universe for 11 Buddhas of years. Whenever he is determined to fix his arrow upon his bowstring with his two powerful arms, all opponents of regular, oh my goodness. Whenever he was determined to fix his arrows upon his bowstring with two powerful arms, all opponents of the regulative principles of religious life would flee from his presence in fear of the unparalleled prowess he displayed in ruling the universe. He greatly loved his wife, Bari Barishmati, and with the increase of days, with their exchange of nuptial love also increased. By her feminine behavior, as she dressed herself, walked, got up, smiled, laughed, and glanced about, Queen Barismati increased his energy. Thus, although he was a great soul, he appeared lost in the feminine conduct of his wife. He behaved with her just like an ordinary man, but actually he was a great soul.
I love that line about she increased his energy just by being up and about and like laughing and smiling, increased his energy. I feel that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
While so excellently ruling the universe, King Priyavrata once became dissatisfied with the circumambulation of the most powerful sun god. Encircling Sumuru Hill on his chariot, the sun god illuminates all the surrounding planetary systems. However, when the sun is on the northern side of the hill, the south receives less light, and when the sun is on the south, the north receives less. King Priyavrata disliked this situation and therefore decided to make daylight in the part of the universe where there was night. He followed the orbit of the sun god on a brilliant chariot and thus fulfilled his desire. He could perform such wonderful activities because of the power he had achieved by worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is fascinating. That's that picture of the chariot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. Like he's so powerful that he can turn day to night.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, he can turn night to day,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When Priyavrata drove his chariot behind the sun, the rims of his chariot wheels created impressions that later became 7 oceans, dividing the planetary system known as Bhumandala into 7 islands.
The names of the islands are Jambu, Plaxa, Salmali, Kusha, Krancha, Saka, Shaka, and Pushkara. Each island is twice as large as the one preceding it, and each is surrounded by a liquid substance, beyond which is the next island. That's
Hmm.
crazy. Do you remember how not
That's
that
pretty
long
powerful.
ago they found like an ocean in the universe? Like they out in space, they found like this massive ocean.
Yeah.
Like NASA found it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not NASA. I don't know who did. I don't want
Someone did.
to.
Someone did.
Right. This reminds me of that.
Yeah. The 7 oceans respective. Oh, okay. I've heard this. The 7 oceans respectively contain salt water, sugarcane juice, liquor, clarified butter,
Wow.
milk, emulsified yogurt, and sweet drinking nectar, and sweet drinking water. All the islands are completely surrounded by these oceans, and each ocean is equal in breadth to the island it surrounds. Maharaja Priyavrata, the husband of Queen Barismati, gave sovereignty over these islands to his respective sons. Thus they all became kings by the order of their father.
I love
So now they're
thinking
kings of these islands that
these
he
islands.
created.
I just love the thought of these places in the universe that we can't even really conceptualize and how
Right.
they exist out there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
King Priyavrata then gave his daughter, Ujjasvati, in marriage to Sukacharya, who begot in her a daughter named Devayani.
My dear king, a devotee who has taken shelter of the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord can transcend the influence of the 6 material whips, namely hunger,
Ah,
thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. And he can conquer the mind in 5 senses. However, this is not very wonderful for a pure devotee of the Lord because even a person beyond the jurisdiction of the 4 castes, in other words, an untouchable, is immediately relieved of bondage to material existence if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once.
interesting. While enjoying his material opulences with full strength and influence, Maharaja Priyavrata once began to consider that although he had fully surrendered to the great to the great Saint Narada and was actually on the path of Krishna consciousness, he had somehow become again entangled in material activities. Thus, his mind now became restless and he began to speak in the spirit of renunciation. Yeah, I feel this one.
We can get caught up,
Yeah,
sometimes even the greats.
yeah.
The king thus began criticizing himself. Alas, how condemned I have become because of my sense gratification. I have now fallen into material enjoyment, which is exactly like a covered well. I have had enough. I am not going to enjoy any more. Just see how I have become like a dancing monkey in the hands of my wife. Because of this, I am condemned.
By the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaja Priyavrata reawakened to his senses. He divided all his earthly possessions among his obedient sons. He gave up everything, including his wife, with whom he had enjoyed so much sense gratification, and his great and opulent kingdom, and he completely renounced all attachment. His heart, having been cleansed, became a place of pastimes for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, he was able to return to the path of Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, and resume the position he had attained by the grace of the great Saint Narada. I mean, how many times do we have to have like this story of like
Mhm.
these kings giving away everything? Even Jesus says this. This man approaches Jesus and says to him, "How do I get to the kingdom of heaven?" And he says to the man, "You give away everything you own." And in the story, this rich man, he couldn't do it. In these stories, he just did it. He gives away his whole
Yeah,
kingdom, everything that gave him sense gratification, he walks away from. We keep reading this, and it's like,
yeah.
wow.
Which is like actually a good representation of like they were just telling him like householder life is for you. This is part of your
Yeah,
dharma.
right,
And so he had to he had to live all that out
right,
before he could become liberated once more.
right,
And
right.
so maybe that's us too. Like we're here. So,
Right.
okay, text 39. There are many famous verses regarding Maharaja Priyavrata's activities. No one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead could do what Maharaja Priyavrata has done. Maharaja Priyavrata dissipated the darkness of night, and with the rims of his great chariot, he excavated 7 oceans.
To stop quarreling among different peoples, Maharaja Priyavrata marked boundaries at rivers and at edges of mountains and forests so that no one would trespass upon another's property. So it's like he created order.
Yeah. As a great follower and devotee of the sage Narada, Maharaja Priyavrata considered hellish the opulences he had achieved by dint of fruitive activities and mystic power, whether in the lower or heavenly planetary systems or in human society.
Wow. And that ends chapter 1, Canto 5, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Wow.
I think we're in for a good one.
Starting out good as usual, as usual. Starting out with the deep truths.
Yep. I mean, look at this person who created all these opulences and then at the end, before giving them up, just realizing that they were all hellish.
It's so
Like,
interesting, these instructions being given to us on Earth, us who are mainly householders.
yeah,
This is it's like telling us what to do.
yeah.
And this chapter about Brahma comes down. It's like this is what's happening. Like
Hmm.
you can't not do it. So you might as well do it.
Right.
You might as well go
So,
along with it.
so I mean, the overarching theme, though, right, is to always keep Krishna in your heart and in your
Right.
mind at all times
Yeah.
and in all of your actions.
Yeah. Hare Krishna to that.
Hare Krishna, which is sometimes easier said than done because we do get caught up. I do get caught up sometimes.
Yeah,
And I'll be
absolutely.
doing something and I haven't thought of Krishna in 4 hours, you know?
Yeah.
And other times it is easy, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were saying to him about householder life is like it's actually easier to be in the forest and be able to have your mind stay cleared and only thinking of the pastimes of the Lord.
Right.
When you're in householder life, if you can conquer that, if you can really keep Krishna in your mind and heart all throughout your householder life, like wow,
Right.
that's even more impressive than running off to the forest.
Right. I mean, if you have like toddlers running around and things to take care of and like food to gather and cook and bills to pay and like all the things that you have to do in life. Very distracting and really hard not to get pulled into material, you know, strands
Yeah. Yeah.
attaching to you.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, well, we're gonna wrap this chapter up. And I'm really excited to get into this whole next book, the next chapter, the activities of Maharaja Agnidra. Okay. So thanks so much for listening and watching. We love all your likes and comments and blessings and love to you.
Yes. Until next time. Hare
Till next
Krishna.
time. Hare Krishna.